Hey there, Taurus. I am Melissa Joy. Welcome to your reading with me at our Joy to the World channel. We are ushering in your joy here, and joy isn't, well, it is. It's actually a elated, delightful, wonderful feeling, but it's being able to overcome suffering, stress, disappointments, sorrows, griefs, hatred, self-hatred, animosity, struggle, strife, just throw all the crapola in there, as my parents would say, the crapola, and we're ready to get to it. So it was showing me, this is just background information, seeking that door to romance and a happy family, and they were talking about, jumping for joy, their mullet jumping out here. Get ready, it is coming. Get your frying pan on, it's time to cook it up. What? Get it hot in here. And they're talking about having let love grow cold because you were seeking a certain idea outside of you and in the union and relationship with others. But they're saying it's not time for that. Chiron is really blazing through Aries and is in the middle in the stronghold. So this year, the year of the rabbit, they're talking about, some of you might want to check out Alice in Wonderland, but they're talking about hopping to it, getting into the center of who you are, what brings you pleasure, redefining that and connecting to the truth of who you are and where you are now. Not time to grieve and weep over things long past there. Like all that is distraction and dominion over you and causes the stress, the strife, the struggle. They're like, do away with it and get into the power of your permission now. Start with a few things that you know have always given you clearing, strengthening, joyfulness, whatever it is. Some of you, it could be journaling. For me, it could be bike riding or paddle boarding. Getting out, going for a walk, seeing nature. That's why they have me out here. They're like, Joy, you don't be bringing them into your world. Take them out into your world. And I'm like, thank you. I don't have to sit in the house to do this calling that's on my life. I'm like, now we can really celebrate. Let me turn up that dial, Taurus, and bring you in some love because it shows me that you have been struggling. And so those other things are superficial. Seeking that happiness and the door to romance, wanting to open it up, but still there's a cage and a heart within a cage within a shiffer robe and stuck in the perpetual winter and the perpetual loss and karmic cycles. I know what people say, karma can be good. Let me say, I got some fingers for that because all I got to say, I'm a Saturn sun, oh my gosh. I mean, Capricorn sun and Saturn retrograde halfway across my chart. Directly across, sitting at the south node, position at 0 degrees, Cancer, between Cancer, it's like, And they're like, it's time to return to the truth of who you are. And I'm like, yeah, dang, Skippy, you got that right. But having all those things sitting there, locked up, locked down, staying in the karma, you want liberation. You want your authority and power. You want moksha, which means coming into the oneness of yourself. It's not just our mother and father. It doesn't matter whether they raised you, a man and a woman made you, but you also made yourself. Your spirit and your soul came in, because when those come together, it makes its own creation, its own color, and they're ready for that color to be expressed. Because some of you, it took you to the dark side of the moon, but the goddess of the moon, meaning the power and the permission of the moon, is what do you think about it? Now you could still be sitting here being angry, being upset, being heartbroken, feeling like you're carrying the scars. Like it cost you. You paid for it. It took you back. You know, you've invested so much. And let me tell you, this is coming from a serious place. I got some strong placements up in Taurus. I got my moon and my Mars less than 1 degree apart, sitting up in the middle of that sign, all right? So you talk about difficult, hard, and Taurus is literally, Mars has literally been sitting in the forehead of Taurus in the space in between. So the action that they're wanting you to take is the decision to love yourself, to trust yourself, to quit warring and fighting, trying to mend this, trying to protect, trying to produce, all right? They want to get you into the pleasure, into the prosperity, which is something, seeds that you've already sown, that begin to take care of themselves like children. Could you imagine those things rising up to bless you? Now, personally, that is what makes the difference. And they're not saying me, they're saying you personally, as a person. That's why they're asking you not be chopping it up into the portions to make a family or make a couple or make a home or make a bit. They're like, keep it whole. Keep it whole, because all that stuff, it just gets you distracted and it gets you caught in that backside of the moon and there isn't the progress being made forward. This is who you are. See, the dark side of the moon is just the moon itself. It's the back of your head. All right. Some of you have had your back turned so long to the sun that they want you to turn around and see the glory, see the gifts that are coming your way, see what nature provides you. We are human nature before we are human beings. They want us to get into that primal quality of ourselves, which does not require these things. It doesn't require language and discussion and our associations and dictionaries and other languages and other people or any of that. They're like, no, let's get out of that. Let's get out of that. Okay, friends? So let's get something. Ooh, at the cut, we already got split coming on in. The angel of strength, that you don't have to hold on to contracts. Anything that has to bind you to keep you knows your strength. If you are binding you to keep you, oh, I have to do this today, I'm gonna do that. They're like, those are contracts. That's. I just heard it. Talk about ego mind. Talk about that dominion of the world ways over you. They said Satan. Now, I don't Christian or not, people. Satan is not a person. It is a word for the ego mind, and not just the ego mind itself. There's an ego to the world. The suggestion of, hey, let's just do this little thing here. Hey, this is just how it goes. That's the way it is. That's what you get. That's what you deserve. All that shit is out of here. Bye. That must be why we're by the water cleanser now. And look at that line. Look at me squaring that. I was like, you mean that? I'm like, yes. That's what this channel is about. It's about you being bold, bright, and beautiful. If you didn't see that dragonfly transformation just fly by right next to you, and it is pure gold. Its wings are gold. Its body is gold. Its thorax is gold. Its eyes are green. Green and gold. Ooh, I love it. Thank you. Just sitting there taking a little time to clean the windshield wipers, cleaning the lens of his eyes. Baby. 4 used to seem like a number of restriction, but is a number of illumination now, because that is Metatron's number. It's like 4 is not limited. It is the cube. And if any of you ever play with a Rubik's Cube, how many times have you solved it, right? This is like being able to tap into that energy of those people who go, and all the sides are solved. Yes, because you are a solution. You're not a problem, friend. And they're getting you put back together into the truth of who you are, taking away the anxiety of that hamburger grinder, taking all your delicious whole self and grinding it down, parsing it out, selling it off, putting in the meters and the measure of time and space and whatever. When you get into this, you get into the limitlessness of who you are. They say, know who you are. Know whose you are. You are belonging to self. When we were young, we were told that being self-centered was being selfish. Those aren't the same word. Self-centered means choosing yourself. And when you're a child, they're like, that don't work. It doesn't work for our family. It's not how we get along here. You need to do this. Here's how it works here, whatever. Can you imagine if we were born like a little giraffe or a horse or whatever else? Those creatures are saying those things because they don't speak words, number one. But they're not saying that to their offspring. They're looking at like, get up. I did my job. I got you here. I licked you up. I cleaned you off. Get up and do what you do. Do what comes natural to you. Seek out that food. Seek out that bond. Seek out that heartbeat. And the one you're seeking the heartbeat of is yourself, your mother. That is where we come from. And if you doubt it, look down your belly. And there's this little thing called a belly button that said you did not get here on your own. But the mother is the front side, the soft side, the receiving side of the self. That's why they're wanting to have you turn and face the sun. Greet the day. Instead of staying up all night and just pushing and going a little bit more, maybe a little more Al Green, maybe a little more drinky drink, maybe a little more food or some ice cream or some more moments in front of the TV. You're just wanting to just and not think about tomorrow. But let me tell you, when the sun sets, tomorrow has already begun. We go from sun to sun, friend. And so those actions that you take to create a nighttime routine for yourself, I mean, we have our moments where we go have fun and we do things outside of it, but begin to work there, not just when you rise, because it changes the quality of the environment, of the energy that you rise and realize that anybody making you, because so many of those other things came from when we were young and we were kids, and hormones start cranking on me and the chakra system really starts firing up all over the place, getting into our own identity, which is quite late compared to the giraffe, the horse, the whatever else, right? Where we're in our nature right away. So we're trying to get in the center of ourselves when we spent 10, 12, 14 years being told that was selfish. And so if you play the game of selfish and you're taught how awful it is because of the way you were trained to believe, don't do this, don't do that, then you begin to see selfless is something noble and honorable. But let me tell you, friends, they're like a seesaw. That's what they say, and that's the balance game. That's the balance game. The day and night coming in with the moon. We want to make love with that cornucopia. That's it. Let this picture bring life to you. Let this demonstrate to you the power of your mind, of knowing who you are and staying in that, in the center of that. And you won't be hearing all these rumors and suggestions and judgments and whatever flying up around your head. All right? Because selfish and selfless is like a seesaw. So if this is selfish and this is selfless, and you're like, well, I don't want to be selfish, so you go over here. So your life just keeps tilting and jilting and rocking and rolling and whatever else, and it creates that storm, the earthquake, the whatever else. And if you like running around in a fun house or walking down a bus when you're riding in it, or a boat or a plane or whatever, go right ahead. But when you get into solid ground, into the stability of who you are, it's like that, I don't know what it's called because I didn't watch Star Trek much, but Beam Me Up, you get in this tube, and it's the thing that can help you, like Sandalphon, the eternal flame of Metatron. Woo! Where you can particleize and go through walls, you can time jump, you can change worlds, you can do whatever. That's what it's like to be liberated from karma. You're not having to keep navigating those same roads and getting stuck in the potholes. That's how you begin to have wings, all right? It's kind of like cherubim, any which way your heart goes, or a Wonka Veda, whichever stirs your cream and makes it butter, because butter always makes it better, friend. All right, I don't know where I was going with all that, so let's jump on your tarot. Jump. Now, I shuffled these, so some of you may want to take a look at Aries, especially if you're born, I think it was between 68 and 77, that Chiron was in Aries at that time, at the time of my birth, for sure. And 77 was when it was finally named. And Chiron is the one that swings between the seen and the unseen. I had to check out, y'all, because I mean, I'd be mighty close to this grass if you knew, and I hear something chittering up in there. I'm like, oh, my buttocks safe. All right, we be looking good for the moment. So let's see what is going on here. 7 of Wands. It may be a bit of a struggle for you to put down that wand, because this wand to you has felt like your authority for a while. So some of you, that might be your slice and dice tongue. I know they say swords is tongue, but what comes off that tongue, out that mind, has been buried in the heart. They're wanting you to lay down that anger, that grudge, that proving it, that needing to be approved. That's it. You know I'm talking to you. No, you don't. They're like, catapult. Look how the color changed. Where, let me see. Look how the color changed in that wand. You see that? The power of your permission. You decide. You decide who you are. And you don't need to get anybody else on board. That's the divinity of the I am. You talk to yourself. You know who you are. So let's go. Let's go. Let's get into this. Do we have any tarot cards? Like, hello, let's revisit this person. That's old energy, friend. It's ancient and it does not serve. It keeps you in a constant state of having to be submerged and tucked up in the banks, waiting for something good to come on by, just having to lay low and live out that old scheme. And I don't mean old just this lifetime. I'm talking lifetimes, okay, friend? This is what fell face down. It shot off over there. And you're like, this is what we want, but we're not going to admit it. Where'd he go? You want to be tough, or you want to be liberated? tough and tenacious versus willing and determined. Willing is a form of surrender. It's like I hear myself, you don't need Uranus, your anus, to show your anus, your ass, to be fighting up in nothing to prove who you are and how strong you are. Because the true source of strength is our joy. It cannot be taken from us. It must be given. So where are you giving your joy away? You might not even recognize it as joy. We're going, I gave you my time and I'm pouring this into you and now I'm stressed and I'm drained and you ought to value it. That's your key for your door, for your heart, which was the opening of that door to romance. It's like you look at all the hearts and the romance and whatever else, they're like, back it out and get into the key. Key is also Kai. It is the source of all life. We're talking kidneys, we're talking adrenals, we're talking eyes and ears, friends. What you see and what you hear can shape what you know. And if you're letting it be all around you, you're taking in all sorts of stuff. Looking like the lint up in the dryer, looking like what's all caught up in your water filter. They're like, you're the drink. You're the tall drink. You the delicious refreshment, friend. Look at that. Look at that. Long overdue. Not past due. Not overdue like spoiled. Meaning, are you willing and determined to be delighted in this life? To be at ease and in peace in this life? Like you'll flow. You'll flow. What is that? If you saw Finding Nemo, what is that current that's outside of Australia? You're like in that natural free current that it just takes you like a jet stream and you jump in and you're like, woo! Dude crush is out there having a good old time. Let yourself have a good old time. You don't have to be explaining or defending yourself from anyone or anything, you know? People be hating or stirring up trouble, or you're afraid they will or are, or you're already prepared for the fight. That will invite. Preparing for the fight invites the fight, friend. And so we're talking nervous system because they're going from fight to flight. And like telling them, those aren't their choices. Life is not a test. You don't have to fill in any blanks to get 100, to get a passing grade, to be approved, to move along. No. That's the thing about liberation and the Wonka Beta and whatever all those other names they have. You can break through that roof, that ceiling of limitation, of just having purpose, and let your life have meaning. Let it be what is juicy and delightful to you. If it's early bedtime, don't explain yourself, go to bed. Because see, when you start to explain to others, you start to explain to yourself, and when you do, you begin to shift that needle. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember when scales actually had needles. And I remember having friends, being a girl, you know, they would pull out their mother's scale, and sometimes it wasn't always on zero. They're like, oh, I need to check my weight. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, well, it's not even on zero. And they didn't even know there's a dial back there that you can put it back to zero. It's like getting back to that center so that you don't just have to keep weighing, because weighing has to do with weighting. It's a form of quantification. It's a form of measure. It's something that we're trying to make something limitless, eternal, infinite, fitting constructs of humanity. That's like taking what's whole and making hamburger. All right, you know, or the mushrooms and chopping it up, however you want to say it. Man trying to make his mark on the world. There's no need for that. Get into your nature, explore the world. That's what we're here for, is to have experiences. Not to gain experience, because then you have to hold it all and it's fluid. That Metatron sandal farm, let it come, let it ebb and flow, all right, like the waters do. That's how it keeps itself clean, friend. And not just clean, but clear. How it clears up the muck and the mud and whatever else, because they're talking about clearing judgment. So some of you may have some difficult Gemini placements. Ask me how I know. Here you are, want to explore, to discover, to redefine. And here's this bugger sitting here, because I'm telling you, gorilla energy has many forms. But in this form that it's showing up, it's the one that has dominion, that decides who's the top female, which youth gets to stay. You know, it's the one that runs off all the other opportunities coming in for polarity, okay? And they're saying, let's chase that off. Turn around and face your own son. Be like, bye, Felicia. Or bye, Frederick. Or bye, Frou-Frou. Whatever. And that begins to dissipate this emperor energy. This stalemate, this stagnation, this competition, this conflict, this construct. And look what it affords you. The bottom can be the top of the deck. Just turn it over. Like that song says, turn your beat around. Love will make it happen. Turn it upside down. That's how you change polarity. That's how you change polarity. Okay? From male to female, female to male, meaning whatever complement you need, the power of your permission, the action potential. And it's not like you physically have to turn, but that's why some, spiritual practices involve headstands, right? Or why children roll around all over the place. They're constantly stirring up, making more Kool-Aid, friend, because if people can take this, fill your cup. Fill your cup with the color of the rainbows, all right? And this 2 of Cups is you, friend, getting in unity with yourself. This is your mirror getting aligned so that you see yourself truthfully and accurately, and realize what a prize you are. And they're like, not just a prize, surprise. When you realize that you're the prize, watch the surprises flow. You'll be so surprised to see how effortlessly and easily life is for you to live. Well, that's my desire for you. That's why I take my time and I come here, because I'm like, tell us the truth, Ruth. Let's find out what is going on in here. So I'm wishing you well, Aries. I will head on home for now, and I hope that, let me leave you with this. Let me leave you with this, friend. Beautiful. Hey, I love you.